Greetings, 1%ers, and welcome to Occupy the Marriott. Did you know that Michael Moore is only one person, and yet he controls 33% of the world's cholesterol? The system is broken, I tell you, my friends. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Hey, aren't you the one who wrote that smash New York Times bestseller, Demonic? How the liberal mobs are endangering America. And no sooner did it come out than demonic liberals burst out into mobs across the nation. Yes, that's me, and I'm sorry for that. But the good news is the title of my next book is Nancy Pelosi Moves to Luxembourg. One of liberals, the mob's most irritating attributes is their infernal slogans. Slogans give off the appearance of having meaning, but if you think about it for 30 seconds, they mean nothing. It's kind of like an Obama speech. Bush lied, kids died, dissent is patriotic, pro-choice, pro-child, you can't hug a child with nuclear arms. What does that mean? What does that mean, you can't hug a child with nuclear arms? And why is that particular bumper sticker all over Jerry Sandusky's car? It was slogans that got Obama elected. Hope and change, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Here's a little known fact. Hope and change narrowly beat out Obama's second choice for a slogan, I'm going to raise the budget debt by $4 trillion and not create a single job. That wasn't just catchy. So now we have this jug-eared lunkhead in the White House who's performed the financial miracle economists refer to as the Carter years. We're $15 trillion in debt, and Obama's plan is to spend more. Was Bernie Madoff appointed spending czar when I wasn't paying attention? Because I can't keep track of all these recess appointments. First, Obama passed a $1 trillion stimulus bill that was supposed to create jobs, but mostly it stimulated the government. Now the Democrats want another trillion, which they say is for jobs. They denounce Republicans, oh, you must be against jobs if you won't give us this other $1 trillion. No, all Republicans should say is what happened to the first trillion. Oh. Oh, sorry, that trillion went for public school teachers' pensions. Sorry, that's gone, we're out. The Democrats are like your degenerate brother-in-law who borrows $500 for the rent and spends it on crack and hookers and comes back to you and says, I gotta have $500 for the rent. No, 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 no. What happened to the last $1 trillion? At least we have a lot of extra money lying around for all new entitlements like Obamacare. Obamacare is so fantastic and everyone is so looking forward to being in it that the Democrats immediately gave waivers to 1,000 of their best friends. Since Obamacare became law continuously, I mean, it had to be passed through sleazy parliamentary maneuvers without a vote to spare, a purely partisan vote. Americans opposed it when it passed, and a continuous majority of Americans have opposed it since it's passed. The only thing Americans have agreed on this much is that O.J. killed Nicole. Oh, Obama also told the truth, so he told the truth, he brought us all together, we all hate Obamacare. He also told the truth about not raising taxes on those making $250,000 or more. They aren't paying taxes for the simple reason that they don't have jobs. Consider that the lowest unemployment numbers since Obama has been president occurred the day he took office. Since then, up, 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 we have a little dip now. The unemployment rate was 7.6 when Obama took office. The next month, 8.1. Soared up through 9 and 10. Now that he's gotten it down to 8.6, everyone in the media is demanding we do a hallelujah chorus that he's gotten it down to 1 full point above what it was when he took office. It's like you go to a doctor with a fever of 102, he treats you, it goes up to 104, and then 3 years later it falls to 103, and we're all supposed to agree that is one good doctor. That will conclude our sneak preview of what American medical care will be like under Obamacare. I'm just kidding. Under Obamacare, you'll have to wait 3 years to see a doctor. You'll probably get better by then, or you'll die. But even with all this, Obama is going to be very difficult to beat this year. Number one, he's an incumbent. Number two, Americans keep telling pollsters they like him personally, don't like his policies, but they like him personally. He's our first black president. And the NFM, the non-Fox media, is gaga about him. Obama isn't mawkish like Carter. He's not sleazy like Clinton. You'd probably make a lovely next-door neighbor, as long as you're not Chinese, and he'd be constantly borrowing stuff. Voters with 40 years of politically correct education are ecstatic to have the first black president. They just love the idea of it, even if we did get Flavor Flav instead of Thomas Sowell. When is it going to be okay in this country to admit we elected a man based on the color of his skin? I'm talking, of course, about John Boehner. Dark orange is in, baby. Look at how popular Snooki is. Republicans have managed to defeat a sitting president only twice in the last 100 years. Once was exactly 100 years ago in 1912. Once was in 1980 with Ronald Reagan. That's why I said from this stage a year ago that I thought Chris Christie was the only one who could beat Obama. I'm pessimistic, or I was more pessimistic, about any Republican beating Obama, and Chris Christie is the kind of politician that comes around only once in a generation. Like Reagan, he speaks the truth directly, boldly, the way no one else will, taking on the evil empire of our day, by which, of course, I mean the public sector unions. But despite my Herculean efforts, Christie has decided not to run. Now he won't even return my calls. I thought we had something special, Governor. But since last year, Obama has gotten worse and Romney's gotten a lot better. I assume you've been... I assume this audience has been watching the debates, and I think Romney's been practicing, because he's a lot better in the debates than he was in 2008, and I supported him then. Meanwhile, independents are fleeing Obama. I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but based on his public approval ratings now, it looks like he is not headed for re-election. No amount of that Jakarta charm is going to get people their jobs back. This time he's got to run on his record. If you remember when Ronald Reagan ran on his record in 1984, Saturday Night Live did a sketch of Reagan in his war room, or rather Mondale in his war room, and they're looking at it district by district and which ones they thought Mondale could take, and then you pull back from the map and you see the entire map is just a map of Minnesota. So that's what happens when Reagan runs on his record. No, Obama's got to run on his record this time, and the only people calling for hope and change are us. Since I've been up here talking, Obama has hired another hardcore lefties to install in government bureaucracies where they can dream up new things to tax or regulate. This is, you hear it all the time, this is the most important election of our lifetime, because this is the only shot we have to repeal Obamacare. If it is not repealed in the next administration, that's it. It is here to stay. People start receiving their treats. Newt Gingrich will be denouncing plans to reform it as right-wing social engineering, and America begins its inexorable decline into Western Europe without the charming cafes and cobblestone streets. So I ask you, CPACers, who are you willing to stake the future of this country on winning? Who is going to appeal to the most independents? Because if we're betting the future of this country on Newt Gingrich not being repellent to independents, I want my money back. I'm not taking that bet. On election day, every stupid woman in the country will be driving to the polls sobbing because she's afraid of Newt Gingrich. I, too, enjoy people who annoy the media. I am that person. But this is a presidential election that will decide the future of the country. To stake everything on alienating independence and get nothing out of it accomplishes nothing. Keep your eye on the prize, right-wingers. The only question you should keep asking yourself is who will have the most appeal to independents, to undecideds, to my gender. When Reagan ran and was the first one to take out a sitting president in 100 years, he did not run against Jimmy Carter by calling him a socialist. He didn't call him a Kenyan colonialist. He didn't call him a radical. He didn't say anything about Carter. He said Carter's policies were failed. That's how Reagan took out a sitting president the first time in 100 years. I feel like, you know, the Godfather asking for Luca Brasi. Nothing fancy, just get the job done. The Democrats have many advantages, but one advantage they don't have is the element of surprise. We know how they're going to run against our candidate because it's the only way they ever run against any Republican. Call them dumb or call them stupid. And there is one presidential candidate we have right now who frustrates both of those. That is Mitt Romney, and exactly what it is